You're listening to Cultureful. I'm your host, Jess Lin. This is part 2 of my conversation with Denetra. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I recommend going back to listen to that first, where we covered Denetra's background, how she coped as a young mother of 2, and what her younger son, DeAndre, was like as a child. In this episode, we pick up right after DeAndre's high school graduation. We talk about his work, his love, and his battle with cancer. Denetra also opens up about her journey with grief and healing, and how she's channeled her energy into several important projects that support parents who have lost children. A couple of quick notes. We had a few audio issues, so some short sections have been remastered with AI. And I've posted the video recording of this interview on YouTube, along with photos that Denetra has shared. If you'd like to watch while you listen, just search Cultureful on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Welcome back from the break.
Yes.
I want to pick up with DeAndre. We're at the point where he is graduating high school.
Yes.
What did he do next?
He immediately goes to South Carolina State University, which is located in Orangeburg, South Carolina. He went there, I would say about 2 years before he decided he wanted to leave South Carolina and move to a different city. So he left South Carolina and moved to Maryland. Because he was working for Ruby Tuesdays for quite some time. And his first job was Wendy's, but his second job was Chili's. And my husband helped him get that job because that was a new Chili's by the airport in North Charleston. And he worked there for a good 4 years before he said, you know what, I'm going to go to a different place. So he ended up going to Maryland because he started working for the airport at Hertz Rental Center. So Hertz transferred him from Charleston Airport to Dulles Airport. And he started working there and found the Ruby Tuesdays there where he could work part-time there too. So he ended up working
2 jobs while he was in school?
He had left South Carolina State and moved to DC. He didn't start school back right away. He started working. So he was working 2 jobs and no school at that time. He then started working for Howard University. Someone noticed him and noticed his personality. She pretty much was giving him an interview right there. He called me so excited. He said, Mom, I spoke to a lady. She worked for Howard University. She wanted me to work in the president's office. And I was like, really? I was like, what? She was talking to me like I already had the job. Like, she was like, I love you. And
Wow.
So he went and he got the job. Like, he worked under Dr. Wayne Frederick. He was the last president at Howard University. He was a great mentor to my son as well. I became really family with them. They were really good people to my son, even, when he got sick and even when he passed away. They gave him a proclamation from this college. So I'm grateful for them as well. He had a partner actually when he passed. His partner, when I brought him back here, his partner ended up coming right behind him, moved here. And his partner is still here. We lost contact over the years after DeAndre passed, and which was fine. He was by my son's side up to the moment my son took his last breath. So I'm very grateful for Kobe. He's always been a gentleman, respectful.
What do you know about DeAndre and Kobe's love story?
So before Kobe, DeAndre was dating another guy because he moved there with another guy earlier in those years. And then they broke up and he met Kobe. Kobe, business oriented, young fella, very smart, educated young man, went to Morehouse, School of Medicine. He's very smart. They dated for about almost 2 years when DeAndre passed. Very clean cut gentleman, handsome young man, to match my son's energy because he loved to dress. So they both loved to dress. And I love their love for one another. Like, he took care of my son when I wasn't there. So I'm going to always be grateful for him because the times that I couldn't get to DC, he was there and made sure he got to his appointments and treatments and things like that. I really never really missed any treatments, but his appointments and stuff, when I wasn't there, he would take them and things like that. But yeah, he was an all around type person to have picked up his life and moved from DC to back to Georgia, because I think he was here before, and he moved back here after my son got sick, and I had to transport my son back here to his final days. So he came here and he's been here. So I don't know if he's still here, but
But he came for DeAndre.
he came for DeAndre. He really loves Kobe. And when I said he loved him, he loves some Kobe. And I'm sorry that Kobe had to go through this with him, the sickness and everything. And I tried to keep in contact with him, but we lost contact because I really wanted him to make sure that he got help, for it, because he was right here with him when he passed. So it's like, I just want to make sure that you're good and you're okay, so.
And because he grew up in the church, right?
He did.
Going to church a lot.
Yeah.
Did he have any internal struggle or anything with being gay and growing up in the church?
No, because nobody really didn't really know, to be honest. Nobody really didn't know. He wasn't like out there. He didn't become solid like that until 2017 when he told me about it. And that's when I was like, you're okay. You're telling me something I already know. He was like, well, I just wanted to know, and let you know. I was like, you don't have to tell us. We already know. Me and his dad told him that together. It was like, we already know. You're like, okay.
His coming out to you didn't feel like a thing for you, but probably was a thing for him, right?
It was a thing for him, yeah. So I just respected it. And, we've always respected it and gave him a space about whatever. You just tell him to be careful, cautious, or whatever the case may be. When he was younger in church and stuff, that's something that people really didn't know, because he did praise dance in church and usher board. I mean, he was, they were active. We always had them active in something, but nobody never, like said anything to him about it or whatever. But I know he was gay since he was maybe, I would say 7th grade, maybe 7th grade. Yeah, I could tell that he wasn't really interested in too many women. He would be around them. He has very, very close girlfriends. I still keep in contact with them to this day. Matter of fact, one of his girlfriends is having a baby, and she was just upset the other day when we were talking about DeAndre. She's like, I wish my brother was here, because they were really close. And she's getting married and having a baby, and her daughter is 11 now, but the other daughter she's about to have and stuff, and she finally got someone and she's going to be mad, because that's all we ever wanted for her. So I'm happy for her. And I still talk to a lot of his girlfriends. I keep up with them. They keep up with me, especially around his death anniversary. So I've gotten to have a big family from him.
It sounds like DeAndre had so much community and so much love in his life.
He did.
So DeAndre worked at Howard University's president's office.
Yes. The business college there at Howard. He didn't get a chance to finish, but he did enroll back in school. He was excited about that, getting back in school and finishing his degree, because he never got a chance to get his bachelor's degree. So
was that around the time that he found out?
He found out he had cancer in 2015, right after my dad passed. He came to my dad's funeral. His knee was swollen, and I kept saying, "Why are you limping? What's going on?" He flew in that day and, to come and go to the funeral, and flew out the next day. And he was like, I don't know. He said, I got to get it checked. And he went and he got it checked, and they found out he had osteosarcoma cancer, and he needed to start chemotherapy right away.
How old was he at that time?
25. 24 going on 25.
How do you think he coped with that news?
Probably the same way I coped with it when he called me. I was at work, and I think I held the phone for like 2 or 3 minutes before I even opened my mouth again. He kept calling. And it was almost like I almost blacked out with the phone in my hand, and came back, and I could hear, Mama. It's like,
are
what?
You there?
Cancer? Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know how to deal with that, because my dad had just died, and I was like, what? Yeah, he called me maybe, I would say a month after my dad passed. They
Mm.
told me he had the cancer, and right then and there is like, forget the grieving. I gotta kick into another mode, which was mom mode. And that's the mode that I think I became numb at that time. And I was just going and going and going and going. I was flying back and forth DC, staying for weeks at a time. Every time he had a chemo treatment, I was there. Chemo would be 5 days a week, for a week at least. 2 weeks back to back with a break in between, maybe a couple of days. It was something that I think that contributed a lot to my PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
because I now have PTSD because of all the traumatic things that I had to go through, and just be able to cope with all of that. That was a lot. It was a lot to traveling and having them call you. Like at one point in March, they called me and told me my child wasn't gonna make it. I need to get to DC right away. And I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? I just talked to him. Come to find out he had like a blood infection or something. And when I got there, I walked in the room and this is all I saw.
Okay, for the listener,
He was
Denetra just
smiling. Like, why
smiled
are you
huge at the camera.
smiling?
Okay, yeah.
I was like, when I tell you this guy gave me so much strength. Like I tell him all the time now when I pray to him, I always tell him, you just don't know how much strength you've given your mom. Cause I had to watch him go through so much. And even though he was going through so much, it would never tear him down. Like, it would never tear him down. And I'd be like, this child, he got every bit of his mom bones in him, and I never knew how much strength he had. It's like it was my strength coming back out that he needed to give me. So it was like we were swapping roles. We were
Wow.
swapping roles because I needed the strength. It was just all happening so fast. Like, Children's National Medical Center up in DC, one of the most amazing children's hospital there is in America. Just let me put that out there. Like, the nurses and staff there is one, and doctors, counselors, they all are absolutely amazing. Because he was an adolescent, he had to go to the children's hospital. And the cancer he had was adolescent, and his oncologist, she wanted him to be at the children's hospital where she treated the rest of the children.
Mm.
So sometime he was the oldest there, but that's what he celebrated his last birthday at, his 28th birthday. They gave him a nice birthday party. And so it's like, they were family. They will always be family. I still keep in contact.
What stage of cancer was it when y'all found out?
It was pretty high up there. He never really gave me a stage, but I think it was stage 3, because they had to go in even after the 1 or 2 treatments of chemo. They went in and did surgery to remove the cells, the cancer cells, from the leg where he had it at in the knee area. They went in and removed it, and he was to continue with chemotherapy treatments after.
Mm.
He did not continue his chemo treatments after like he was supposed to.
Why not?
You know, kids gonna be kids. If he feel like he's doing good, and maybe he thought, because they said they got 99.9% of it out, that don't mean they got 100% out, that he still need to go to treatment so he could get the treatment. I think he skipped treatments a couple of times because the caseworker reached out to me one time and asked me if I seen DeAndre. I said, what do you mean if I seen DeAndre? You should have seen him also too. And,
Right.
so he knew that he was supposed to go back to treatment.
Mm.
And I think that with him not going back to treatment, his cancer came back. And when it came back aggressive.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm.
Came back more aggressive. It was absolutely horrible. I mean, I guess he knew what he was doing. I don't know. I really don't know, because he went to California that year for his birthday, 2017. Right after he came back from California, he said that it came back. when it came back aggressive. And one of his legs was like 3 legs put together. It was so swollen. And he had it in his groin area. And then it had spread to his stomach and his lungs. And yeah, he should have gone to treatment. That may have helped. I think he was just tired of going to treatment because he went like so much. He did go so much. And I think he was just, our faith is in God. And I think he was just putting his trust in God and thinking that if I don't go, maybe it'll go away. But it didn't. I think about, well, what if he did go or whatever? But everybody has their own decisions over their lives. We would talk to him about it and say, you know, you need to go back. He would say, yeah, I know, Mom, I know. And I don't think he really wanted to. And that was his decision. It's nothing that I could have done. I couldn't have go up there and drag him by his hand and make him go. It was just me begging and pleading, please go back because you probably need to go back. And he was avoiding it because I know he knew probably that if he went back, they would have found it, you know, and it did. He finally went back. And once he went back, that's when, you know, we had to start the process all over again. And then had to make the decision of amputating his leg, try to save his life or give him a little bit more time to live. But really, he only lived about 7 more months and then he still ended up passing away because at first DeAndre didn't want to get the amputation, but I told him, I said, if you want to live a little bit longer, you might want to get it. Because if not, I mean, he had to make a decision. And I know that's hard as a child, 27 years old. You're sitting here trying to think, okay, I get my leg cut off. Am I still going to live or am I going to live? It was really a trying time. And I think that, well, what I wish is it doesn't happen to anybody else, but unfortunately, it's going to happen to somebody. It was hard. It's still hard some days, but it's not as hard as it was because I lived it and I got through it and I survived it. So that's where, you know, everything that I do as far as my passion about everything that I'm doing comes from.
How do you think DeAndre would like to be remembered?
First thing DeAndre liked to be remembered by was his smile. His smile was just the most infectious thing there was. His personality, his mannerism, just basically, he was a kind human being. I never knew him to be mean to anybody, or I rarely saw him mad about stuff. So I just want people to remember him as a kind, big smile, mannerism young man, because that's what he was. He was very smart, and those are the things that a mother, a parent is always going to be proud of. So I'm very proud that he made something out of himself while he was here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing about his journey. I think having a child get diagnosed with cancer or any kind of potentially life-limiting thing, it sounds like the most unimaginably difficult thing to go through. And I feel for you and I feel for your family. I feel for everyone that has to go through something like that.
Yeah.
For the families that are going through that right now, maybe, you know, someone just got diagnosed or maybe they've lost a child. How did you get through it? And like, what would you share with them?
Well, how I got through it, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. I prayed every day. It was downright hard. And there were days when I thought that for me personally, I thought that I wouldn't make it because it was so hard. Like I would sit on the side of the bed each day and just ask God to please take this away from me or take it off of me because it got so heavy some days where I didn't know the light of day or the time of day or what day it was or whatever the case may be because I was so caught up in my grief. I was never angry. I hear some people say they get angry with God. I could never be angry with God because the God I serve, I know he goes ahead of us and he has plans ahead of us. So we don't know what his plans is going to be. So we just have to live our lives as if it was the last day of our lives sometimes, you know? So I couldn't be angry, but I did question if I did enough for him, if there was something I missed. But I had to realize that we all have to leave here one day. And I'm sure the person who loves us the most next to us will be asking the same question. What did I do? If I did enough, so what I did was, I started looking for resources. I did go to counseling a few times. I took medications here and there, but I created a group myself on Facebook after joining a group on Facebook for parents that lost children. I didn't like it because there was so many people in there. It's like over 1,000 or 2,000. It was just
Mm.
too many people. And it didn't feel like a safe space for me. So I created my own safe space on Facebook, parents that have lost children, support group. And it has about 286 members in it, which I like because we're all close. We all have grown to love each other like family. I have a messenger chat where we chat in there every day about, things that are going to be relevant to our grief. We don't have to be ashamed to talk about our angels, because I call them angels, and I call the parents angel parents because these are their angels. I make sure that this space is safe for them, where they can come in, talk about them, share their angel anniversary, birthdays, any special things that they want to share, what's going on in their lives. Because my thing was, I created the group for the parents, but once I feel like I told them, once they have gotten everything they need out the group, they can unfriend the group, because what I don't want to happen is triggers. We always have a new parent come in that just lost a child. I have some parents who just lost their child within a week or a month that joined the group. And I'm like, how do you do it? Because it took me 2 years to even create this group. So you got some people out there that are actually looking for the help and the support. And that's what I provide. I provide that. And Smiley Connections LLC came from my last name, Smiley, but I want to put smiles on parents' face again by connecting them with other parents that have lost children that have something in common, that we all can unite together and just kind of get to this grief together. So that's what Smiley Connections LLC does. There's so much more to that. I want to create a retreat for them as well. That's how I got through it. I pretty much did that. And then I started putting my passion into some things that could change with us. So I'm trying to get a bill passed here in the state of Georgia for parents that lose children for more bereavement time and protection. And so that's how I end up putting all my passion inside of just doing stuff for other people, because I've been always helping others my entire life until it's like, that's all I know. My dad taught me that. My dad was a person who was of community, safety, neighborhood. He was everything. And I learned all my work ethics from him and my aunt Lavinia. She always was very smart. I always watched her as a child growing up, how she would have these nice, good jobs and, doing all this nice, important stuff. And I'd be like,
Uh-huh.
I want to be important like her. So yeah, she was always smart, very smart. And my dad, he knew everybody. I always used to make fun of him, when we were younger. We was like, Dad, when you die, you're gonna have to have your funeral at an arena. I said, because you know too many people. Like he knew everybody in Charleston. Like, are you serious? Like, if it wasn't in Charleston, it's wherever he traveled or wherever he went, he always met somebody who knows something or knows somebody. He was a very smart, very educated man. My mom too, but she was never a public person like that. She was more of
Mm.
a subtle person. But my dad knew everybody. I'm telling you, everybody. And so that's where I get it from. I get it from him. And I just want to make him proud. Because, I was the only one in my family graduated from college. Nobody else in
Mm.
my family has ever graduated from college. So I'm trying to create a generation for my grandkids. So, I hear my grandson say, I'm smart like my nana. I want him to always keep
Aw.
saying that. So
Uh-huh.
I say he's 11. He don't know no better. He's smart just like his nana.
Amazing he sees the example that you're setting. Now I want to bring us up to the present. So 2025, how would you describe where you are in the grieving and recovery healing process?
I would say that I am maybe 50% of, of getting, I'll never be 100%. One thing I teach my group is it never goes away, it just gets tolerable. So you learn how to deal with it more than you have to say you're trying to get rid of it, because it will never go away, because it's your child. A piece of you is missing. Because taking this anatomy and physiology class, I'm discovering that's a whole part of me that's gone. So
Mm.
I feel some type of way, for them being gone. So you just have to take it step by step. I think that I tell them, take it step by step and breath by breath. Every time you breathe in, just thank God, breathe out and say, I can do this. Just keep fighting. So I think I'm 50% of where I need to be. Some days I'm up, some days I'm really down, and it'll be for a couple of days. So I'm not really in the work field right now. I'm doing school and then working on a bill. So, because I know my limitations of the days that I have those moments, the days I want. So I have to kind of figure out my next career move as far as job wise. And if there is another career, or if I'm just going to go full force with everything with Smiley Connections and make that a big thing for people that are going to need it in the future. So
What are you studying in school?
it's another form of it's medical billing and coding. I have my license as a certified professional coder, so I'm trying to get another license in health information management, coding specialist as well. So I have everything else. I have the business administration. I have the microcomputer business applications certification. So it's like I always try to keep my mind sharp. I think I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else. See if I still got the knowledge of ascertaining a lot of the stuff that I'm being taught here. And so far I have a 4.0 average. I graduated with a 4.0 in 2022 for my other medical billing in college class as magna cum laude. So I'm
Wow.
good.
So you went back to school after you had the kids and got your
My associate's degree in business administration of technology from Triton Technical College right there in Charleston. It took me about 4 years because I started, I stopped, I took two, couple of
mm,
classes, but I ended up graduating in 2012 because I started in 2008. And that was the best day of my entire life because I never got my high school diploma. So I was not able to walk across the stage, have my GED. And so that started my journey and all my certifications. Like I just had to keep going for more. I want more and more and more. I never took the bachelor's or the master's, but I got certifications and things that I needed to have for the jobs that I was on. So I do have a good bit of different types of certifications and would like to have, Spanish.
Spanish.
Yes, I want to do Spanish.
Oh, I'm a Spanish learner. I
Really?
don't know if we talked about this, but yeah, and I actually am striving to improve my Spanish all the time because I eventually want to have more Spanish speaking guests on here and I want to interview them in Spanish.
Oh, that would be nice.
I've already interviewed one of my friends in Spanish. She's my language buddy.
I am so wanting to speak Spanish so bad. Like I've been wanting to, and I don't even know why. I just have never taken a class or anything yet. Nothing.
Maybe this is the year.
Hey, this is the year of winning and success. So I'll try it. I'll try it because I think after this year, there's no more school for me. I keep saying that because I said that back in 2022. People were like, okay, now you finished school now for good. I'm like, yeah, girl, no more school for me. And here I am taking another class again.
Let's take a short break. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners thinking to themselves as they listen to this conversation that they know someone who has gone through the tragedy of losing a child. So, in your personal experience and
Uh-huh.
also, what you've seen with Smiley Connections, what advice do you have for people that want to support parents that have lost a child? Like, say it's my friend or my relative. What kind of support is helpful for, community to provide? Is there anything?
To be honest, every case is different. So everybody grieves different. Some people may want the help. Some people may not even want the help because I run into a few of those. Like some people would say, yes, I really need. Now, a lot of people that are in my group, they really appreciate being there because you just want to talk to somebody who has a similar situation. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard talking to a person who's never lost a child and explaining to them your feelings because they're not going to know how you feel. So I would suggest to people if you want the help, get the help. They have 988 out there, which is a free suicide prevention line that talks about anything, everything you want to call and you want to talk to somebody neutral outside of your family and friends. That's a neutral place. They also have Grief Share program. It's called Grief Share. You just go to griefshare.com and they have grief groups at churches and community centers that go through a whole I think it's a workbook that they go through each session to kind of help you learn how to deal with different griefs. Those are any types of griefs like spouses, parents, children. But as far as children, that's a whole different subject than losing your parent. So, and it's sad. Now you can actually find somebody else that has lost a child by going on the internet, TikTok, and things like that. And it's sad that that happens. But when that happens, find a secure, safe space for you to express yourself because it's so hard to have safe spaces and know they're safe because just because it's a big group of people who say they've lost their children, be very careful about those types of groups. You
Mm.
want to get more intimate. That's why I say my group is only 286 members. Everybody is not active, but the people that are active is only like a handful. And I still keep the group running and it's not overwhelming. It's not overbearing and it's so much information and so much of what I don't push in my group is religion. I don't push
Mm.
religion. I don't push government. I don't push political. I don't push anything that circles the outside of that because that's no place for it in the group. The group is basically for parents that support each other in the death of their children and their sister or brother. My advice is to just do what's going to be best for you and your health. I did counseling. I did it for a little while off and on. I took medications. I did go to grief share. I didn't like it because I was very early on in my grief and it was just too devastating for me to be sitting in the class and listening to everyone cry. So I couldn't take it. And so now I've created avenues for me, myself, some of my friends that have lost children. We have an avenue, my group, and the things that I do within my group. I've had like online book club in my group where we read a book by Megan Devine called It's Okay Not to Be Okay. We did that was the very first online book group that I've ever did, and we did that. I do sip and paints on the video with them as well. So I try to do activities. I also have a book that I'm writing. I started writing it, but I haven't finished it, and it's called Life's Interruptions. I've done 2 or 3 live interviews on Facebook where I ask, different questions, almost like a podcast, and just ask them things that they can share with other parents that see this, just how they got through their grief. Talk about their family dynamics, what happens with families when you lose children, and you still have living children, and how it was for work. That's the purpose of the bill that I have, DeAndre Thompson Parental Bereavement Protection Act. I asked them if when they took off, did they have enough time to take off and how much days were given and was their job protected? So the bill basically protects everybody here in the state of Georgia that is working and that has 25 or more employees. So the bill gives them not just the 3 to 4 days, it gives them 10 days and they get extended compassionate leave for 4 weeks. So it's like, it's more than what is being offered right now, because FMLA does not protect our jobs if we lose a child. But if you have a baby, you get 12 weeks of job protection. So that's why I'm trying to get the bill passed and do all these different things to get it passed. Smiley Connections LLC is the other part of me where I'm trying to have a retreat for the parents that have lost children support group. I've been trying to do this for almost 3 years. I have a GoFundMe page up that has $93 in it out of the 10,000 that I'm looking for.
So that was going to be my next question. How, if the listener wants to connect or support the Bill Smiley Connections retreat, if they know someone that might want to join the Facebook group, how do people connect with you, and how do people find ways to support?
Parents that have lost children support group is on Facebook. It's a private group. So when you do click on it, it will ask you questions in order for you to be automatically entered into the group. Smiley Connections LLC.org is my webpage. It has all the information on there about my bills, my past interviews with different magazines that I've been on. It also has a link for you to click if you would like to donate to the it's called On the Road to Healing Retreat. Smiley Connections LLC will be sponsoring that hopefully by 2026. I've been trying to put it on for quite some time now. It's 5 days, 4 nights, and I'm going to have my first one in Charleston because I'm familiar with the area. It will be full of arts. It will be full of activities, not a whole lot, because I want them to be able to come out and get that healing. I do have some special guests that will attend, like counselors, life coach, things that I can help with both the adults and the children. So I look forward to putting that on. That's my biggest dream. So I have a GoFundMe page. It is On the Road to Healing Retreat.
I'll link all that stuff in the description of the podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just a dream of mine to have that so I can get the parents to come out, because sometimes it's really hard for us to just even get out the bed. So just to have a trip once a year that they can come to and enjoy it with other family members who share the same thing that they share, and yet share very close, personable, memorable memories of their angels with one another. And then they get to relieve some of that grief off of them just for those couple of days. And then they get to go back home and say, now I think I might can do this. So just a healing process for everybody to be able to come and enjoy themselves.
That sounds like a really beautiful offering. I hope you're able to put it on in 2026. For the bill, for listeners that are in Georgia, is there any way that folks can support the bill?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that if you're outside of the Capitol, no, there's nothing nobody can get the vote on. The only thing I can do is really go down there and advocate for it, because it's already been drawn up. The only thing is that I'm waiting for it to get introduced in this session, because if it doesn't get introduced in this session, I have to wait until 2027. So I did speak to Representative Scott, and she assured me that she was going to try to get it put on the dockets, but haven't heard anything from her yet. I will reach out again because it's getting close to the end of session almost, and I just want to see if my bill even made it to session or what's happening, because I haven't heard anything else from her. I've emailed everybody that I could think of that has anything to do with working families. So pretty much, I think everybody in Georgia who has some type of title around here may have an email from me. I've emailed the news stations, the radio station. I'm really trying to get some media coverage on this and some generalization out there. Maybe one person I hear it and be like, "What? Okay," but it's like everybody is for the bill. It's just that I just need the bill to pass. And that's just my hardest thing. I've never done anything to this aspect in this realm. This is a big thing for me. I think I was taking it a little lightly at first, but now I'm to the point where I'm kind of sweating bullets because I want it to pass. I want it to pass. And this would be a great thing for the state of Georgia. I mean, it's unfortunate that I had to go through what I had to go through in order for the bill to take place. But I'm glad that this is how laws come about, and bylaws and things like that. And it's like you have to have an experience in order for you to say, you know what, I think there should be a change to this. So
Denetra, I want to say that you are extremely inspirational. I'm sure you've heard this, but to take the grief, the experiences, the challenges that you've gone through, and there have been many,
yeah,
and to turn that, like, not let that crush you, but then to turn that into motivation to not only help, community members that have lost children, but also to help future Georgians that
yes,
will have to go through the same thing. I'm really grateful that you're, on here to be really authentic and open and talk about that. It's not, no one's ever 100% after this, right? And
that's
and
right.
that is a journey, and you're healing, and that's every day. But at the same time, day to day,
Yeah.
things aren't always like linear in the healing process, right? So
Mm,
thank you for just being really real and sharing. And it's really brave to
absolutely.
kind of be that real with people and listeners and me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It took a lot for me to get to this point, and I told myself that once I got here that I'm not going to stop. So, yeah, some days are a little rough and I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. And I always second guess myself. No, I'm not going to do it again. I'll reschedule it. I'll do this. And I do that a lot, but I have to know my purpose in life. And this was the one thing that I asked God when I was going through the darkest days of my life when my son passed is, what is my purpose? Like, I felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore after my son passed. I was like, I was just taking care of him all these years. So what am I supposed to do now? So I am very grateful that he showed me a path in helping others, because this is the stuff that I do for anybody. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a generous person, or knows that I would do anything to help anybody. They just need to ask. Just ask me, I'm there. If I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't, I'll tell you. I'm not gonna, you know, give you false hope. But I thank you for this opportunity to be able to sit on your podcast and give my story, my history. Like, I have not done that. This is the first. And I appreciate that, because I have something to look back on and say, that was my life. And here's my life story. And this is what happened to me. And this is why I did what I did, because Jessica invited me on her show. And here I am
Uh-huh.
talking like I've been here forever. And, but I've just arrived.
Uh-huh. And I think you're inspiring me in this moment to also be a little bit vulnerable. And I want to share that
Yeah,
I've been going on a crazy grief journey the last few
really.
years as well. I, have been going through a disability journey. I've grieved loss of career, loss of identity, loss of a lot of things. And so when you're talking about like memory issues, I'm like, I get you. I get you with that stuff. And then on
Yes.
top of that, I have gone through 2 miscarriages over 2 years. It was
Really?
2023 and 2024. And that kind of biological grief, it was something that for a moment there, I was like, am I going to get through this? Like, I don't know, like it
Mm,
was all consuming. It was extremely visceral.
yes.
And so,
I'm sorry
yeah,
you went through that.
thank you. And I think also when I met you at the Capitol, when we were there for Asian American Advocacy Day, and you were telling me about the bill, and I got really emotional because you mentioned that it would include people going through fertility issues and stuff like that.
Fertility and miscarriages and stillbirth. Yes.
Yeah. And that really moved me, and because a lot of times, like miscarriages, it's like people don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it. Yes,
And I'm talking about it now partially because I don't want it to be taboo. You
that's
know,
right.
it's it's one thing to go through it. It's another thing if you feel like you have to hide it. And so I don't. I talk about it. I don't want it to be taboo. So I really
Mm.
appreciate that you included that in the bill.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I saw because the bill was based off of another bill in Illinois, the state of Illinois, and they had those verbiages in there, and I said, "You know what? That would be great to include that not only for just the death of a child, I needed to be specific. I needed to say a miscarriage, a stillbirth, things like that, fertility, because all those things consume us as parents and consume us as a parent that is trying to have a baby as well. So that those things need to be included in the bill as well. If I gotta wait till 2027, I do want to make sure that the bill does have all the verbiage in there that I wanted to have in order for it to pass, and then I'll just have to wait. But I don't want it to skip out or miss anybody.
Hmm.
My deepest condolences to you. Wow, thank you for sharing that with me because I did not know that.
Thank you for inspiring me to be brave and and share that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm hoping that it touches a whole lot of other parents as well. And maybe one of the senators who have lost a child or through the process of infertility or miscarriages or stillbirth, maybe they'll get this bill. Maybe they'll understand, and I'm just hoping just one person just say, yes, I understand because I've been there, I've done that. And this would be good for the next set of parents that would have to come after us that would have to experience this. So
Thank you for this. I'm sure it's a lot of work.
it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
Changing gears now to some other aspects of your life as we come to the close of this conversation. Okay, so this was like burning question throughout. So you're talking about South Carolina, growing up in South Carolina and the culture of South Carolina. And so
Yes.
as someone, I don't think I've ever been to South Carolina.
Oh my God.
So I guess I need to go. Yeah. What's South Carolina to you?
Well, South Carolina is family. You have togetherness there, food. We connect by food in South Carolina, and we connect by cookouts and things like that. So South Carolina is family and food. They have the best tasting. We are Gullah Geechee, so we're an origination of some of where some of the slaves were sold back in the days. So Gullah is that's the language and the people of back in slavery. We
Mm.
spoke Gullah, and we are Gullah descents by our dialect. So I am Black. I am Black, and that's it. I have no. I'm not from Bahamas or Jamaica or any other descents. I am strictly born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah. We invented a whole lot of different things like soul food. That's where you hear soul food from. So South Carolina is soul food. You got soul food
Really?
in Charleston and you have soul food in Savannah. So Savannah and Charleston are connected because they both have the areas where they imported the slaves. So it's
Mm.
like Charleston and Savannah is connected to one another, you know. So yeah, we carry much almost the same foods. So we have a slave market downtown Charleston that goes from one end to the next of all kind of crafts and arts and different types of foods and things that have been made by the locals that they go out there every day or weekends and sell. We have different restaurants down there. You would see the horse carriages rides around town giving tours of all the different mini houses, the Battery, where a lot of our history and things take place at. Then we have the Gullah Geechee tour, which I've never been on, but I promised myself I'm going to go this summer. It's going to teach us about the Gullah history and how we talk. we have a different way of talking, you know. A lot of people be like, "Oh, you must be from South Carolina because you got a little thing, or or you sound like you from Jamaica or whatever because of your accent." But no, it's all Gullah. You know, we say things like "come ya," "who chala for," or "come from ya." You know, we say different
What
things
does
that
this mean?
yeah, it means, well, "come ya" means, you know, "come here, child," or "who chala for," be like, whose children are those?
Uh-huh.
You know, and we don't say fish or shrimp. We say fush. We say fush. We say shrimp. You know, we say things. We
Uh-huh.
eat red rice. So red rice is a delicacy there where it's just basically smoked sausage, bell pepper, onions. You know, I put stewed tomatoes in mine and tomato paste, and it turns the rice a little red. So we call it red rice. A lot of people think we're saying red beans and rice, but we don't do red beans and rice.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought you were referring to too, but it's tomato sauce.
Yeah, it's like a tomato sauce and paste. You put in it with bell peppers and onions and smoked sausage, and that gives it the flavor. You know, some people add shrimp in theirs, but that's a delicacy in Charleston, and collard greens and macaroni and cheese. So those are our main ingredients. We do fried fish, we do fried shrimp, fried oysters. We have the best food in Charleston. So you can find breweries all over the place now. We have the wine farm there. We have the tea farm there. We have Firefly Distillery there. So we have a lot in Charleston that is very historical, very entertaining. There's so much to do when you go there. So
Okay. I need to plan a trip to Charleston.
you do.
Yeah.
And let me
And
know
I'm going
when
to
you
ask you
do.
all the places I should be eating or going or whatever. It's very infectious, your love for Charleston.
Yeah, I'm serious. I love it.
The last question I want to ask you.
Absolutely.
What's something that you and your husband like to do for fun?
Okay. Well, we like to travel when we can. We've taken like 10 cruises, so we love
Oh,
cruises.
wow.
Oh my God, I love cruise. It's like they spoil you. You just carry your clothes and that's it. They make your bed, they fix your food. You don't
Uh-huh.
have to do anything. So we like those kind of trips. We love traveling. We love spending time with our grandkids. That's a priority for us now, is to make sure we see them as much as we can. Pretty much that's it. I don't know. I think we like to go out to eat, and, you know, just the simple things. We like to go out to eat, and then we like to just walk around certain stores and stuff. Like, he'll go to Lowe's and I'll walk with him and I'll just be looking at stuff. Or
Uh-huh.
oh, so we've been married 28 years. So it's like we're going on 29 this year. So it's like, and 30 years together. So it's like, you know, we don't do a whole lot together, but we do enough to keep each other happy.
Uh-huh. That's what it's about, right? That's what it's about, the daily life stuff.
Absolutely. I'm sure we do other things. We watch like TV shows together, like 48 Hours, and
Uh-huh.
the cooking shows, the travel shows. I love to watch. So we watch Wicked Fish when they go out and catch all the big fishes and stuff. And they used to do the crab legs one, but I don't know what happened to that show. And then the one with the 18-wheeler, they drive that in snow and stuff. I forgot what the name is. So I watch all kind of shows because of him,
Uh-huh.
nature and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So, but, you know, yeah, that's my boo. Yeah, I love him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you 30 years love him. So,
Yeah, he's a great provider. He makes sure that things are taken care of. He's always been a responsible man, and I've never had to ever worry a day in life about bills or all that good stuff because he's always been a great husband and father. So his dad and mom raised him right. I got the good one.
nice. I'm really grateful you came and shared your story.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much for listening and being here. You can learn more about Denetra's work at SmileyConnectionsLLC.org, linked in the episode description. Consider supporting her dream, On the Road to Healing, a retreat for parents who have lost a child. You can donate through the GoFundMe on her website. This episode was produced and edited by me, with advising and executive production support from Ruben Nana Ruben. I'm Jess Lin. See you soon.